Hi everyone! Today we're going to be talking about taking apart and field stripping my favorite persuader, the Colt 1903 Pocket Hammerless. Taking apart a Colt 1903 is pretty simple. It's a pretty easy process and requires just a little bit of mechanical knowledge. John Browning designed this with a little arrow mark, if you can see that at the edge. Right there. You can see that. That has to line up with the parallel edge of the frame here. And when that happens, you can actually twist the barrel. Since this one is a Type 3, the barrel bushing is actually connected. But the first thing you want to do before you do anything else is make sure that the gun is empty. So this particular persuader has a heel release. So you make sure there's nothing in the magazine. Make sure nothing is in the slide. Now that we know we're empty, we can go ahead and take this thing apart. I've seen many styles of grips to take this apart in the way of how it's handled. Me myself, I take it apart using the trigger guard and holding two fingers at the edge of the slide. I pull it like this and line up the line with the edge of the frame. Twisting counterclockwise, I'm able to pull the barrel out along with the rest of the slide. As you can see, because it was neglected, it does have a hard time sometimes getting out, but eventually it will. We are going to fix that later down the line. So now that it's apart like this, you can twist this clockwise again, slide the barrel out, and inside you'll find the recoil spring along with the recoil spring pin. Make sure not to lose any of those pieces. That recoil spring pin will go into this circle right here, this hole, and will stabilize the recoil coming out. The reason you have to twist the barrel is because it locks onto the frame. So originally it is locked down like this. When you twist it, you're able to slide it over the serrations and then twist it back when you put it back on. Because I've oiled this particular firearm before, it was a little easier. But when I first got it, it was definitely not that easy. You can see it's definitely still a little dirty on the inside. And there are parts that made contact that don't look like the best markings. But we'll get through it and, like I said, take it apart a little more. For the grip, there is one screw on the grip there, and you're going to want to get a number 4 flathead. You can put it on a screwdriver, or in my case I'm going to manhandle it a little bit. You just put it in there, make sure it's snug and it's not, you don't want to strip it and you don't want to ruin the head of the bolt. So this one's a little loose, so it's a little easier to take apart. Be very careful with this screw, you don't want to lose it, and you don't want to strip it. I don't know where you're going to find another 100-year-old bolt, so. Back to taking the grip apart. Once you unscrew it enough, it should release from this side of the grip. You can take this grip out. It's been oiled on the inside, as you can see there. And you can push this one from this side, and you can see that screw would fit right into that hole. And that's how you take apart a Colt 1903 Pocket Hammerless. Putting it together is just the reverse. But we're going to end up polishing this, so we'll keep it stripped for now and see what it looks like after. Looking at the frame and parts of this Colt 1903 Pocket Hammerless, you can see there are many things wrong with it. It's basically lost its collector value because of it. So I use it as a shooter, like I've said before, and we are going to be cleaning it up a little bit with the Flitz metal polish. I'm not going to use it on the grips, and I'm not going to use it on the springs on the inside because they are still functional. We might use a little on the barrel, and because the original magazine still has a lot of bluing, I probably won't do it on that either. You might do some on the heel here, and we will be cleaning it up on the frame. So taking a look, you can see that there is a lot of pitting and some rust on the slide. The barrel bushing has a few scratches all over it. Whoever had this before me definitely neglected it. The frame is probably the worst part. It's got a few pitted areas, as you can see. Someone probably took steel wool to it. It's been really scratched without being re-oiled probably afterward. This oiling is for me. I had oiled this persuader before. We might also do a few contact points on the inside, such as right below the firing pin here, where it makes contact with the frame. So let's take a look and see what we can do afterward, what it looks like. Alright, so because I've cleaned this before, it still has some oil on it. I'm going to give it a few sprays with this cleaner. And this stuff doesn't smell too bad. Just on the parts that I'm going to be cleaning, then I'm just going to wipe it off here. Get some residue, some oil off. So you can see, look at that. It's probably dropped at one point too. But probably don't want to see me wipe. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so after using the cleaner, getting the residue off and wiping it down, next we're going to be using the actual polish. You don't want to put too much of this stuff. It's might be abrasive, so depending on how hard you're going to push on it. It's also not the best smelling thing in the world. Yeah, so you just want to put a little bit at a time, I'd say. The part that actually touches mechanically and slides, I am going to mate it with the frame when I put that on, and then slide it back and forth to create a smooth action. Because, simply put, over the last 100 years, since they had residue on it, it probably didn't seat right. So, just wipe it on like that, and buff it out with a cloth. And we'll see what it looks like after. Okay, so just to let you be updated here, I've polished the barrel, not the barrel, the slide here. And let's compare it to the barrel. Might be hard to see in this particular light, but it did actually clean it to a mirror. Well, not exactly a mirror, but closer to that type of finish. And if you look at the rag, there's actually a lot more on there than I had anticipated, considering I cleaned it 3 times since I've shot it. So if this is just from the slide, I'm guessing the frame in the barrel is it's going to be a lot worse. But I'll get through it and show you what it's like afterward. Okay, so all these parts have now been polished and they are much cleaner than before. As you can see, the rag picked up a lot. But I'm going to put a little bit just on the parts for the slide hit, and also on the inside of here, and maybe here where it makes contact right here. And maybe a little on the bottom of the barrel. Wow, look how shiny that ended up. That's going to help with the action. If I put the action back together, you can see it it's not smooth. That's why it's so hard to take out, especially right there. Yeah, I actually have to pull it out. When it's a blowback, it works fine when there's an actual round inside, but since we have it apart, we might as well tune it up a little bit. Alright, so when I say little, I mean little, guys. Like, I'm just gonna put like that and kind of get it in there. And this, a little bit on the other side. Afterward, I'm gonna put the gun, I'm actually gonna put the gun back together. Just let that slide on its own. And we're gonna actually perform the action and hopefully take out any minor burrs that are in the metal. Like I said, this one was dropped a little bit, so there might be even dentage where there shouldn't be some. But we're just gonna, like little contact points like that. So we're going to add some of this abrasive. And then I just want to put a tiny bit on this right here. And maybe some on the slide. Just where it's gonna hit. Okay, so I'm gonna put this completely back together and cock it, play with it, cocking a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, some of it is coming out the back. I put some in and around areas where there's making contact. You can see even right there's a few spots. But we're just gonna jimmy it like that until it's a completely smooth action and seats correctly. Okay, so I've been doing this for about 5 or 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, I guess. Closer to 10. Somewhere in between. So now the next thing you do is, like before, take the gun apart. And let's see how much easier it'll slide off here. Wow. That was a lot easier, actually. Or smoother. I'm not sure about easier, but it was a lot smoother coming apart. So I think it worked. I'm gonna wipe it off and re-oil it and wax it and put it back together. Okay, so I hit it with the flitz one more time and now you can really see it shine. Yeah, and in addition to that, it's It's real smooth. It's really nice, actually. But the last step is just to put this all together, and this should be done. So before I put it all back, I like to use this Hops number 9 synthetic lubricating oil. And I just put on a piece of cloth here like this, and basically put it into the moving parts. You can also just straight up drip it on there if you want to, which is another nice thing. And that coat of oil will keep things from rusting and things from breaking down a lot faster. Okay, so I'm running out of space, so I gotta do this quick, but to put this back together, you stick the barrel back in all the way, turn it counterclockwise, put the mainspring along with the pin, the recoil spring, in the hole that's in there. They'll go in there. Match this with this hole in the slide. And then use your hand like this again. Cock back. Find the point where it's going to catch. And you got back your 1903. Last part is just to put the grips on. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's gonna go like that. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little tutorial and a little tuning on it, so I had a lot of fun. Next video we'll see how it shoots in the future when I have time. But I'll show you before and after so you can see and compare what this mirror finish looked like back then and now. So pretty cool. So now it's oiled up, cleaned up, waxed. This thing is ready to go shooting. That's gonna have to be in a future video because I don't have any time right now. And like I said, things are now a lot better. The action's a lot smoother. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like, Colt 1903, the most elegant persuader in the world. Thanks for watching.